Hello and welcome to Natural Television News Show. I am Sauda Mganga. We are in the capital of Turkey, Ankara. I'll bring to you our news headlines within the country and from all over the world. During the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha, the Turkish Red Crescent, Kizilay, was set to provide meat to 4.5 million needy people all around the world. Following Muslim tradition, the Turkish charity sacrificed and distributed meat from animals in 51 different countries in the Balkans, Central and South Asia, South America, the Middle East and Africa. Naji Yormaz, Kizilay's deputy chair, told Anadolu Agency in Tanzania's semi-autonomous region of Zanzibar. For the first time this year, Kizilay also distributed meat from sacrificed animals in Ivory Coast, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, the Comoros, Rwanda, Indonesia, the Philippines, Cambodia, Georgia, Tatarstan in Russia, the Greece and Suriname, he said. The organization has been supporting the needy around the world for over 150 years, he added. The Tunisians wearing traditional clothes celebrated the National Women's Day on Habib Bourguiba Avenue in Tunis yesterday. As many as 72,000 opiate pills were seized in a bust in Turkish metropolis Istanbul, security sources said on Tuesday. After receiving a tip of local military police officers, the forces in an operation rounded up suspects allegedly involved in drug trafficking and selling drugs in the city, said the source, pleading anonymity due to restriction on speaking to the media. The raid conducted in Bahçelievler district of Istanbul led to the arrest of 2 suspects. They were identified by initials HB and MK. They were presented before the court. One of the suspects was sent back to custody while another was released under judicial control. The leader of Turkey's opposition party said on Monday that they support presidential system unconditionally. Speaking at Nationalist Movement Party MHP Eid al-Adha greetings at party headquarters in capital Ankara, Devlet Bahçeli said they do not expect to get any post in the cabinet in return for their support to the presidential government system. At least 28 Turkish pilgrims died during the period of Hajj in Saudi Arabia, Turkey's top cleric told reporters this Monday. Airbus also wished God's mercy to those who died and conveyed condolences to their relatives. The Hajj pilgrimage is the 5th pillar of the Islamic faith, a ritual that must be performed by all Muslims, if financially feasible, at least once in their lives. 10 Turkish sailors who were released on Friday after being kidnapped by gunmen off Nigeria last month safely arrived homeland Sunday morning. Hakan Çakar, a kidnapper sailor, said that armed pirates had hijacked the ship and took crew to a forest. He narrated that, as I quote him, "We did not know what was their purpose. They didn't say anything," he said, adding that they were held in very difficult conditions in a shed. Selçuk Esenyer, a lawyer sent by a ship owner company to negotiate with the pirates, said that health conditions of all 10 crew members was good. In mid-July, 10 Turkish sailors traveling aboard the Ivory Coast-bound Turkish ship Paksol 1 were abducted off Nigeria. The ship was operated by Kadiolu Maritime and had 18 crew on board. At the time, it was attacked by pirates suspected to be from Nigeria's volatile Delta region, according to local officials. On the day of the incident, Turkey's foreign ministry said that initiatives had been taken for the release of the Turkish men. Jeffrey Epstein, the U.S. financier and disgraced millionaire, committed suicide in his prison cell pending trial on sex trafficking charges, the U.S. media reported on Saturday. ABC News reported that Epstein died by committing suicide on Friday night in his lower Manhattan jail cell, according to 3 law enforcement officials. Epstein, 66, was being held in a federal lockup in Manhattan while facing 1 count of sex trafficking minors, which carries a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. Another count of conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years. Epstein allegedly committed the crimes of at his Manhattan and Palm Beach, Florida properties, where he abused dozens of underage girls, some as young as 14, and conspired to commit self-trafficking, according to prosecutors. The U.S. continued to dispatch military and logistics equipment to the terrorist YPG-PKK-occupied area and the east of Euphrates River in Syria. An Anadolu agency footage was recorded last Friday, the fresh U.S. delivery through the Semerka border gate at the Iraqi-Syria border. After passing through the northeast of Syria, the convoy proceeded to internal areas as 70 trucks were carrying armed military vehicles, prefabricated buildings, and construction equipment. There were also a large number of fuel tankers and trucks with covered haulage in the convoy. The restoration of the largest caravanserai built during the Anatolia Selçuks era is completed, and the historical attraction now awaits local and international tourists. Located 22 kilometers away from central Konya province, Zazadin Caravanserai stands as one of the most significant constructions of the era. Regarded as one of the most notable commercial checkpoints of the era, construction of the caravanserai was completed in 1237 under the rule of Ghiyaseddin Keyhurseid II and the Selçuk Turk Sultan, according to the historical documents. An aerial view of tents set up at Bozturk Stadium by Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Management Authority for people whose houses were damaged by 6.0 magnitude earthquake that hit Bozkurt district of Turkey's western Denizli province on August 9, 2019. Provincial Directorate for Environment and Urbanization crews continue damage assessment process as citizens are warned not to return their homes for another while. The allure of the world's oldest known temple in southeastern Turkey is also attracting the attention of Chinese tourists, the Turkish ambassador in Beijing said on Wednesday. Located in southeastern Şanlıurfa province, Göbekli Tepe was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List in June 2018. Turkey hosted famous Chinese writers and journalists last year to attract the attention of more Chinese tourists. Abdulkadir Emin Onen told Anadolu Agency reporters. The leader of Nigeria's banned Shia Muslim group, who is in India now for medical treatment under police protection, is suffering for lead and cadmium poisoning that may be from sharpener in his body, his daughter said. Ibrahim Zakzaki was among hundreds of people arrested in 2015 after security forces stormed the headquarters of his Islamic movement in Nigeria and killed about 350 people. He and his wife have been in custody ever since, awaiting trial, and arrived in India on Monday after being granted leave to seek medical treatment earlier this month. Burundi started vaccinating its health workers against Ebola, the World Health Organization has in report. Those at Gatumba border near the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a year-long Ebola epidemic has killed at least 1,800 people, are the first in line for the vaccinations overseen by the World Health Organization and the Burundi's Health Ministry. The former head of the Sudanese intelligence service, Salah Ghosh, was banned from entering the United States because of his alleged involvement in human rights violations. In a statement, the U.S. State Department said it had credible evidence that Mr. Ghosh was involved in torture when he was in charge of Sudan's National Intelligence and Security Services. Members of his family have also been barred. Omar al-Bashir, the country's former president under whom Mr. Ghosh served, was ousted from power in April. A transitional military council then seized control. Egypt announced plans to promote cycling in an effort to cut down on pollution and encourage healthier lifestyles. A government statement said its Bicycle for Every Citizen initiative would give people the chance to buy bikes at affordable prices lower than the market rate. The scheme will be launched in the Cairo area first. Increasing fuel and transportation costs may tempt commuters to consider cheaper options. But there are fears Cairo's heat and unruly traffic might be some of switching to a bike. Thousands have signed an online petition asking Ivory Coast's Ministry of Culture to use the country's biggest stadium for DJ Arafat's funeral. He died on Monday morning after a motorbike accident in Abidjan. He was 33. The musician, whose real name was Ange Didier Houn, was known as the king of Ivorian dance music genre, Coupe de Calais. More than 65,000 people have signed the petition on Change.organization asking for the use of Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium to be used for the funeral. It says the musician threw his talent through the flag for Ivory Coast. The Ugandan Winnie Byanyuma, who heads UK charity Oxfam, has been appointed as the next executive director of UNAIDS. Ms. Byanyuma brings a wealth of experience and commitment in harnessing the power of governments, multilateral agencies, the private sector, and civil society to end the AIDS epidemic around the world, UNAIDS said in a statement. Her appointment followed an open and wide-ranging search, UN Chief Antonio Guterres said. A former MP and engineer by training, Ms. Byanyuma succeeds Michael Sidibe, who has been appointed Mali's health minister. US President Donald Trump suggested a personal meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping to discuss the political crisis engulfing Hong Kong. In a tweet, Mr. Trump said he had zero doubt that Mr. Xi could humanly solve the Hong Kong problem. He also tied the protest to a US trade deal with Beijing in the face of ongoing trade tensions. Of course, China wants to make a deal. Let them work humanly with Hong Kong first, Mr. Trump tweeted. Hundreds of villagers have been evacuated as firefighters battle the flames in Evia, the country's second biggest island of Greece. The blaze, which covered large areas of the island, has generated clouds of smoke and have reached Athens, 112 kilometers away. Environmental activists chained themselves to track to stop a train transporting cars from Volkswagen plant in northern Germany. The fleet train was brought to a halt on a bridge over a canal near the city of Wolfsburg in Lower Saxon, while police cut the protesters from the railways. The operation took several hours, and other activists, meanwhile, occupied a giant metal globe in the entrance of Volkswagen's Autostatic Visit attraction in Wolfsburg. Climbers who want to attempt Mount Everest should first have to demonstrate that they are experienced mountaineers, a panel advising Nepal's government recommended. Its report proposes that applicants must already have climbed a Nepali peak of at least 6,500 meters high. They should also have to provide a certificate of physical fitness and employ experienced guides, it adds. Earlier this year, at least 11 people died or went missing on Mount Everest. 9 of the deaths occurred on the Nepali side of Everest and 2 on the Tibetan side, with 4 of them blamed on overcrowding. Thank you so much for being with us in our news show. You can check our social media of Natural Television or send us messages or comments on our WhatsApp number written on your screen. I am Sauda Mganga, Natural Television Studios in Ankara, Turkey. See you soon.